It is currently August. And do you know what that means? That means we are in the month that comes before September, which is the month that comes before October. And October is objectively the best month of the year because it has Halloween. Look, I have been on a horror kick. Shut the f up, okay? Look, all right. I have been on a horror kick. I don't know what it is. We are still in the middle of August. We are still like 2 months away from October, but I am in a horror mood. I am in a mood for spooky films and spooky games. So today, I'm gonna offer you a bit of a deal, okay? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I'm going to talk about the 5 scariest games that I have ever played. The games that to this day still shake me to my core. I love them, but they really, really get to me for one reason or another. And because I give you my 5, I would like you to tell me some of your favorite scary games. They don't have to be the games that scared you, but I just want more scary games to play. Not just games, how about movies? More scary movies to enjoy, just scary things. Give me them. But before I get into this list, I would like to clarify that when it comes to horror games, what scares me more than anything else is atmosphere. Okay, jump scares are one thing, but atmosphere is what really gets me in terms of horror. The sound design, specifically, if a soundscape is unsettling, if the world that we exist in for the time period is unsettling and it really starts to just kind of get under my skin, that is what gets me. Because then I am broken down. My walls are broken down and I can get more into the horror and then boom, then that's when the jump scares get me. But I like atmosphere above all else when it comes to horror games. I think that is really, really what gets me. With that being said, I'm gonna talk about my number 5 scariest game I've ever played, which I think it's a basic bitch take, but it's my basic bitch take. Alien Isolation is a 2014 survival horror game that is set in, you guessed it, the Alien universe. And if you've been on this channel for any length of time, you probably know that the 1979 Ridley Scott directed Alien is my favorite film of all time because it is just a pure work of art and the atmosphere and the tone of the world is so immaculate. And so when this game came out and so perfectly replicated the world of Alien, yeah, of course it's perfect. Not to mention the fact that working Joes have to be some of the scariest looking like android enemies in any game. I hate them. I hate that their skin doesn't quite fit on their body. I hate the way they sound. I hate the way that they are just completely emotionless and they'll just beat the shit out of you. I hate the way they open lockers. But then on top of all of that, obviously there's the Xenomorph, which to this day has still some of the best AI of any video game antagonist in the way it balances knowing exactly where you are and not exactly where you are, and you have to outthink it. Alien Isolation terrifies me in just how accurately it portrays the Alien universe. It is fantastic. From the way the loading and save screens take like up to 15 seconds and you hear that before you actually get to save your game, the way you are given a revolver and it does shit all to the Xenomorph. The more you do to the Xenomorph, the more it learns. The more you hit it with the flamethrower, the less likely the flamethrower is to work. All of these things add up to a really tense and terrifying experience. And the game has like an endless survival DLC, which is fantastic because it gives you the ability to really learn and understand the game mechanics. But frankly, I haven't played it a lot because Alien Isolation gets to me, okay? That is why Alien Isolation is number 5. Alien Isolation is really scary. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is the sequel to a beloved indie horror game, which I do love, but personally, I think the sequel is significantly scarier, and that is Outlast 2. Now, if you've never played the Outlast games, they are fucked, and I would like to clarify that before any of you go out to play them. But the core gameplay of the Outlast series is hide and dark. You have a video camera that can record in night vision, but you have a limited amount of battery space, and so you need to constantly be finding batteries, be finding bandages, hide, and move around. I love them, and a lot of people think Outlast 1 is a better game, and I completely understand. But as someone who has significant religious trauma, the religious themes of Outlast 2 really upset me. In a good way, I want to clarify. The rural southern vibe of the game, intersplit with the constant flashbacks to our protagonist's time in a religious schooling environment, icky. Okay, look, I really like Outlast 2. I think it goes completely off the edge at times. There may or may not be an entire scene where your protagonist gets crucified. Do I think that's wild? Sure. Do I think that's scary? No. But I think there is enough moments in that game that genuinely shook me that it outweighs how bombastically stupid and over the top the game gets at certain points. Is the game perfect? No. Did it scare me at times? Yes. It is a game that I don't think I've played since it came out, if that says anything about how scary the game is. But a lot of moments are still burned into my brain because they shook me. So yeah, number 4, Outlast 2. But I think what's more embarrassing is what I've put at number 3. So I'm about to put my heart on the table for you. I'm about to out myself with one of the cringiest and most embarrassing things I can ever confess to. I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I adore Five Nights at Freddy's. The new Blumhouse movie coming out, pumped, hype beast. I am so ready. But genuinely, I unironically love all of the FNaF games, Pizzeria Simulator being one of my favorites. I love FNaF. So at number 3, I've put FNaF 4, but let me explain why. So first of all, I want to clarify that this is what the animatronics look like in FNaF 4. Okay, and with that out of the way, I would like to point out that the core gameplay mechanic for FNaF 4 is audio-based. Because instead of looking at monitors and like trying to keep the animatronics away by controlling like a fucking pizzeria and holding them back, in FNaF 4, you are a child in a bedroom having a nightmare. You run up to the door, you put your ear to the door, and you listen. And if you hear, you shut that door so fucking fast. Because if you don't, you die. Because it's a FNaF game. But it's the way you can go up to a door and you don't hear anything and you can creak it open and take a look and you'll see an animatronic like on the door, like in the hallway, and it just goes and it goes away. It's the way that Foxy runs into the closet, and when you run up to the closet to take a peek, she goes like, bah! And she comes out at, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's the weird little plushies that sit on your bed that you have to constantly keep an eye out for. It's the mini game where you have to keep the plushie away. FNaF 4 is great, okay? Say what you will about me, I love Five Nights at Freddy's, and while FNaF 4 is not my favorite in the series, that goes to FNaF 2, FNaF 4 is, I think, the scariest for me, at least personally, because the atmosphere and the audio-based gameplay upsets me. It makes it really hard to play because you are just so focused on listening. The way you have to like put your ears up against the door, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I love FNaF 4, but I hate it. Number 2. Number 2 is a game that my editor recently played for the first time ever. I bought it for him and I forced him to play it because I love it. I love it so much, and that would be Iron Lung. Now, Iron Lung does not have anything in it that objectively makes it terrifying, but the setting, the lore you can kind of pick apart at, and just the whole vibe of the game, If you don't know the plot of Iron Lung, you are in what's known as the Iron Lung. It is a submersible that was not designed to go to the depths you are going, so it has been completely bolted shut. You do not have windows, you don't have anything. It is a one-room tank of steel that is sent to the bottom of a moon that has filled with blood. It is a blood ocean on a moon, and you are sent there to photograph and topographize the moon of blood. And as this happens, bad stuff occurs. Shocker. Who would have guessed that on a moon of blood, bad shit happens? And that is all I want to say, because I genuinely believe this game is better experienced when you know next to nothing going into it. It is a quick hour to hour and a half game that you play in just one setting in the middle of the night, and it is a blast. It is a game that is so good that Markiplier, yes, that Markiplier, has a movie, a full-length feature film coming out later this October based on this game. Fuck, I'm excited. Iron Lung, please, it's like $4 or $5 on Steam. Please go play it. It is fantastic, and whenever I think about it, it just gives me that existential dread that I look for in games. I hate it. I love Iron Lung. It's amazing. Mwah, beautiful. I love it. Thank you, Iron Lung. While this should technically be number one, it is not. I actually have an honorable mention for you, and the reason this is an honorable mention is because it's not a horror game, but it is a game that scares me every time I play it. And that's Subnautica. If you've ever played it, if you've ever met anyone who's played it, you can ask them, go, is Subnautica a horror game? And the response will probably be, no, not technically, but it should be, or something similar to that. Look, if you do, Subnautica, if you know it, you know it. If you don't, go play it right now. It is a survival game. It is perfect. It is beautiful. It is vibrant with colors. It has such a story that you can dig into. It is a beautiful, beautiful game, and it is such a testament of the indie developers over at Unknown Worlds. It is a fantastic game. It gives me butterflies every time I play it. It is one of my favorite games of all time. Subnautica is the honorable mention. It is fantastic, but we should probably talk about the number one game on my list. I have yet to actually finish the Silent Hill games. I've played them periodically. I have them emulated on my Steam Deck, but I haven't really truly gotten into them in the way that I think I could if I gave them a really solid chance. And the reason I say that is because my number one game on the list is Lost in Vivo, a game that I have already made a video on, but fuck, man. Lost in Vivo is a spiritual successor to Silent Hill in almost every way, except for the fact that it's first person. But it has that retro PlayStation graphic style. It has that extremely surreal, almost absurdist style of horror. It has got body horror. It's got so much going on that just screams Silent Hill, and yet I fucking hate playing it. The first time I played it, I had to play it with my partner because I couldn't do it. Lost in Vivo, I don't know what it does to me. I don't know if it is the fact that there are no rules. The game just doesn't abide by any structural rules, so shit can just kind of happen. I mean, there is something that happens at about the 3/4 way point in that game that still I think about way too often, but I don't want to spoil it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it, but I love it. I hate it, but I love it. I hate it. It's fantastic. I cannot understate just how fantastic Lost in Vivo is. And if you've played it and you go, pussy, it's not that scary. Cool. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. I hate it. I hate it, okay? There are things that can just move through walls. That's the thing, is the game just doesn't abide by any sort of laws. Because you leave a room, you're being chased by something, you leave a room, you shut the door, and you have a whole loading scene, you think, oh, phew, I'm safe. And then the thing just comes through the wall and is still coming for you. I hate it. I hate it. That game never lets you feel easy. There are safe rooms in that game, but they're not safe. They're not. And I hate it. That game just makes me feel so uncomfortable. It fills me with such dread. wow, is it impressive. That might be, I think, the scariest game I have ever played, which is why I have it at number 1. But I know there are a lot of games out there, and there are enough of you out there who watch this channel and play a lot of games. I want to hear your recommendations on scary shit. Give me terrifying books. I really love like existential dread. I love the Lovecraftian vibe. Give me that shit in movies. The Borderlands, fantastic. I think that movie is what started my horror obsession for the past couple of weeks. I love that kind of stuff. Give me any and all recommendations you have. If you have good Lovecraftian games that have that eldritch, terrifying vibe, that give you not enough answers, but the atmosphere is perfect, like fucking Iron Lung, like Lost in Vivo, please, I want more of them. So that was my list of the scariest games I have ever played. Thank you for joining me. And by the time I see you next, I seriously hope that I have my Revenant review done. Cutethlhu, look, it's taking a while, okay, man? I promise it's happening.